We're going to discuss the topics that matter to you: race, single parenting, domestic violence, education, and now, the Hagir Show.
Hello and welcome to the Hagir Show. I am your host, Hagir. As you can see, we are here from a different location. We are not in our normal studio or our normal time. We have a very special and unique person with us today. Please help me welcome Lori. Can you please introduce yourself to the audience and tell us who you are?
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Lori Livingston. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I don't live here anymore, but this is my hometown, so it's good to be home.
Well, welcome home, welcome home. And let's welcome Dr. Fred Water. And can you introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are?
I'm Dr. Fred Waters. I'm a martial arts instructor. Work with Hagir on the show and just having fun with my friend Lori.
All right, welcome both of you. You are originally from Harrisburg, like you said.
Yes.
So can you tell us how did you get into modeling and acting, first of all, before we get into deep things?
Well, where do I start? I mean, it really just kind of happened as I was Miss Harrisburg back in 1997.
Wow.
And I just kind of stumbled on something. It really wasn't very popular. It was just kind of something that they did here locally in Harrisburg. And I ended up winning, which makes a lot of sense because we are the capital of Pennsylvania. So from there, I really just kind of stumbled into my acting career and modeling career, just kind of jumping into like different agencies locally. The Mary Bowman Agency, which is still around, I imagine. She's in Lancaster. And she gave me a chance, and literally it just kind of kept snowballing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And actually, it's an honor to be sitting here because Fred and I, we're actually good friends because we got started together here in Harrisburg as well, doing movies.
Yes.
And I remember he was doing stunts, and now here I'm in Hollywood and I do stunts.
Wow.
I'm a stunt woman now in Hollywood, you know, so this is actually coming full circle in so many ways. This is like incredible, you know, to have this opportunity, so thank you.
And it is incredible for us to have you back, and we can call you from our hometown.
Yes.
We're proud of you and everything you're doing, and Fred actually spoke highly of you.
Yeah, this is my buddy. He kept me
throughout this whole time. So in our first show, and I'm sorry that I'm just going to jump right in our very first episodes of our show, we did cover human trafficking, which includes human sex trafficking as a major part of it. And it was a shock for me to know that here in Harrisburg, we have a huge issue, and in Pennsylvania, because of our location, and for me to know that it is an issue in the United States, not just worldwide, it's a huge eye-opener for me. So would you like to talk about your experience with this? And
absolutely. The sex trafficking is now literally in every single state. Like there's no state in this country specifically that is unscathed, like literally. I know one of the major hubs, and I did all my research, so one of the hubs is definitely Detroit, Michigan, New York City, Florida, and Texas. Houston, Texas, to be very specific. It's huge out in Los Angeles, so I'm actually working with people out there to do the same thing. I just had a speaking engagement today at my alma mater, Milton Hershey School, and was able to speak to the girls and teach them. But basically what ended up happening to me, I went to Paris, France as a professional model, and I went there, and when I got there, literally I was sold by a French girl that was my translator. She was just meant to be more of like someone to help me. And that's kind of one of the key things I definitely want to emphasize to people, because I think we as women, and not just women, but fathers are taught, everyone's taught to keep an eye out for the creepy guy, you know, don't talk to strangers. But when we say don't talk to strangers, we're pretty much talking about men. And we never teach people, our daughters, we never teach our mothers, our sisters, we never teach them to look out for women too. And that's usually what's happening, because the creepy guy knows he's creepy. He knows he's weird. He knows you're not going to trust me. He knows chances are he's going to have to, you know, maneuver his way in there. You know, he's going to have to be really, you know, talk fast, like, you know, to be able to get in there. But if you use a woman, a beautiful woman, on top of that, your guard's down instantly. Think about that, right? Your guard's down. Or if you use a compassionate woman, like a motherly type, your guard's way down. Like, you're not thinking, I need to protect myself. And that's how people are getting nailed every single time. So in the case of me, that's precisely what happened. It was a friend. If you saw the picture of the girl, you would not believe that this was actually someone that was a threat. She's beautiful. beautiful.
She's a friend.
And she was a friend, like that BFF.
Well,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And she got paid. She basically was told what he wanted. He told her flat out, I'm going to pay this girl, tell her, I'm going to pay her 3,000 euro, which translates to like $6,000 American dollars. You know, I'll pay her. It'll be a 1-year contract. Just give her the whole spiel that it's going to be modeling.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And she did. She told me everything, but she ended up getting paid and pretty much was supposed to take me to him and throw me under the bus. So her thing was just to kind of get rid of me.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up, fortunately for me, she ended up taking the money and running. But I can't give her, you know, like so much so much praise because, you know, she intended to sell me. That was the whole key. And I don't know what happened, but she ended up running away. So I ended up getting a translator, someone to come with me. And we went there thinking that this is a contract, this is a modeling job.
Contract.
Yeah, that I'm like blowing this opportunity. So I'm thinking about her running away. You're blowing my opportunity to, you know, to make it. That's what I came for. And we get there, and the guy was a little hesitant, sketchy, of course, because he didn't do the deal with my translator. He did the deal with the girl. So he kept emphasizing, I want the girl that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And we get there, and pretty much eventually he opened up to her. It took some time. He opened up to her, and he told her flat out, I bought her, and I have to basically find out where her head is, where her mind is, like how strong she is. And pretty much I would have to break her down. And then he would have to send me to Qatar. So that's what he was coming to do that night, was to ship me to Qatar. And from there, he said, and I quote, they have to have her first. And then I have to bring her back to France so that we can ship her. But he said, she's going to make a lot of money. Like, this is a big deal because one of the key things I try to emphasize to people, and I try to really, really push, when we go overseas, we're not black, we're not white, we are American.
Yeah.
Period. There's no American person sitting here in the States like, oh, I'll go, sex traffic me. No one's willingly, you know, putting themselves out there. So what do they have to do? They have to steal you. They have to trick you. And that's exactly what happened. So basically, I would have been a hot commodity, as absurd as that sounds, just because I was American. And basically, my translator, she defended me. She took me and she basically pulled me in the opposite direction of him. So she ended up pulling me this way and he went that way. And she would ultimately have me stay with her. I would live with her for a few days, actually for a whole month before I came back to the U.S. So she actually saved my life, my translator.
There's so many things that rush into my mind at this moment, just listening and knowing everything going out there. You could have been in a very serious trouble, as you know. You'll be dead, and unfortunately, this is one of the main jobs that people have there, like modeling and acting. And both of my girls started this. That's when I started doing my research and not dealing with people that I just did not have the feeling. Funny thing you said, you know, we're looking to guys and we say, okay, stay away. And that's what I do as a mother. And I'm sure Fred or anyone out there, we talk about that creepy guy. Nobody talk about
people. See, I don't use guys. I look for creepy people.
That's a good thing.
She knows when she was getting started, I used to always talk to her about learning self-defense. That was one thing I've always pushed. I talk to people about it, they get bored of hearing it. It's self-defense. And then, you know, there's a couple instances too, remember, because we talk a lot. And she would tell me things. She says, well, I have to tell you this, and I won't say nothing to her. She tells it, but I won't say anything. But you know what I mean? But you can't trust everybody. Just because people smile and show money at you, you can't trust them. And, you know, people call me paranoid because I don't trust a lot of people. You know, I go on your word, you know, and then if I go on your word, but so far, but your action speaks louder than words. Just because they smile in your face don't mean they won't stab you in the back. So you got to be careful all the time.
But going back to at that period, how did you feel? I mean, this is just me listening to this and knowing, and I know we talk about this, but to actually live that.
Right. I'm the face.
Scary.
I'm the face for it. Like we hear about this in the news. It like the average person, that's just a news story. It's just something you hear about. You know it's out there. You know it's bad, but you don't really have I'm a face.
Yeah.
Like now it's like, okay, whoa, this is home because I can touch this, but I know this person. You know, in Fred's case, like this is like you know, family to me. So at the moment that it happened, once it all kind of came out, I'm exactly like the way you would be feeling right now. Like any of our audience would be feeling like, what? You know, it literally shakes.
This is real.
Yeah, it shakes you to your core.
Shakes
My
me.
translator, her hands were shaking. When she finally pulled me away, we ran off like in the opposite direction so that he couldn't find us.
Mm-hmm.
And she literally couldn't get the words out. Like she said, I know that this happens, but I never saw it in my face like this. Like it basically, it just drives it home that this is real. We can no longer keep acting like it's just that story or that person's story, or those people's story.
It's, like for me, it's the same thing you just said. When I heard of this, and I mean, I was made aware of this. I'm originally from Sudan, so in the Horn of Africa, there's different countries that suffer from this. But to come here and know it exists in Pennsylvania, in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and to actually meet people, and I did meet a couple of the safe housing, and to just sit down and talk to you now. When Fred sent me that small video you made, it was another eye opener for me.
It's humbling. I really can't put into words how you feel. I think you realize, one, how valuable life is. You realize as an American how valuable you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we're not overseas. We're not black, white. Like they're not looking like, oh, she's a black
There's
girl.
no discrimination.
Exactly.
With this, yeah.
You are American. Like that has weight.
Yes.
People are willing to buy you. People are willing to sell you. People are willing. That's.
And moreover, you're a woman.
You're a
That's
woman.
the problem with this industry.
But you
That's
can be
the
a
fact.
guy too.
That's the facts. 54% women. 54% of the women being sold. 54% of the people are women. 17% are girls. 10% are men and boys.
Mm-hmm.
This is huge. This is happening. This is a $32 billion corporation. This is money. Like this is this is big business. So it's not going away. This is something that we as people have to stop saying. Like I said, it's that other person's idea, or oh, it's over there. This is us. This is happening to our daughters. The Kanika Jenkins story recently, the girl up in Chicago was found in a freezer.
In a freezer.
That right there was sex trafficking 101 right in your face, and most Americans had no idea what that was. That girl was sold. There were 3 men in that room, 3 girls in that room. Why was only 1 girl assaulted? 1.
Yeah.
And they paid $200 for her. That right there was sex trafficking. The first thing they do once they get you is they drug you.
Mm-hmm.
You are incoherent from that moment. You will never know what's going on. So when you saw her drugged, staggering that hallway, she was trying to run. She was drugged. Yeah. And I think she was so disoriented, she put herself, or whatever, however, she was so disoriented, she ended up where she ended up. But that right there was sex trafficking 101. And who was it that sold her?
Her friends.
Yeah. Watch your back. It isn't just a feeling. The creepy guy is involved. He's there somewhere, but it isn't always so in your face. And I think that's what people are looking for. They're looking for that big van that's going to open up and grab you. Or
that's all the school.
Yeah.
Now we have technology, media,
exactly.
And with the young people out there, like you just mentioned this story, and the funny thing is a lot of people, a lot of young girls, including my own, they are so naive.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how much you sit down and talk to them, she will look me in the eye and say, "You are just paranoid." Plain as simple.
Exactly.
Like, no, I lived enough, I seen enough, and you just need to be careful. You cannot be careful enough.
And that's where I come in. And this is where I'm speaking to you. And I didn't ask for this. I went to Paris to be a model. My whole purpose was to be on She's Runway, the glamorous, and be some big household name by now. I didn't ask for this.
Traffic me.
Exactly. No. Oh, me next, please. This was not my dream. But this is what was placed in front of me. And I have no choice but to teach other daughters. I have to think about people like parents, who have daughters, who have people out there that, like you said, the daughters are not listening. The kids are not listening. Why? Because they don't have a face to go with it. So for them, even more, it's like, oh, it's just out there.
It's a story.
It's a story.
Yeah.
Sad. Yeah. Now you have a face. Now you have someone in your face telling you this happens, and she looks like you. She sounds like you. She's from your hometown. Do you know what I mean? She can relate, and she's doing something most girls like, modeling and acting.
Yeah.
It happens,
and
it can happen to you, and that's where I'm coming in to prevent it. Just like Fred with the self-defense, how he always pushes the self-defense. I'm the same thing now. I'm pushing this whole, this can happen to you. And this is how it can happen. Don't look for just the weird guy, because he's not going to be in your face. It's that BFF. It's that nice, warm woman. It's a woman. It's 9 times out of 10, it's a woman selling other women into this industry.
And you know what? It's somebody else in your situation would have stayed home, and that's why I admire what you're doing, and that's our job. We need to be a voice.
I didn't ask for this.
And a lot of people will say, this is a big thing, this is, I'm ashamed, or you feel different kind of emotion, and you just stay and bury it.
And I did.
Bury the whole thing.
I went through the whole depression, sadness, isolation, kept to myself, don't trust anybody, don't trust a girl, don't trust a guy. You know, I went through that, and it takes time to kind of weed out from that.
So how did you feel? You said you felt depressed. I mean, you're human. So
I went through severe depression. I mean, it was just like, this happened to me. I'm sad, I'm depressed. I didn't trust anyone. I didn't go anywhere for about 2 years. It took about 3 years for me to really kind of get to this place now. Like, this isn't recent news. This happened in 2014. And now it's 2017, and I'm just now beginning to open up and say, okay, no, I don't like being this person. There is a lot of shame.
I don't want to be a victim.
No, heck, that would victimize me all over.
Yeah.
I am not a victim. I'm not going to be ashamed of myself. I didn't ask for this. I wasn't out there, and I like something that Fred mentioned. You know, a lot of times we also think, too, that it's the girl that's dressed scantily, and that is a factor. That is a big factor. I had on a business suit. I was in a business networking party. I was doing, basically, I look like Michelle Obama for the most. I mean, like, I was very, suited to the T. Like, I had no pantyhose, for goodness sake. Like, you're not dressing seductively in pantyhose. But I say that.
But even if you were,
right,
that is not an excuse.
It is not. But everyone just assumes that it's just that. Oh, it's the girls that are, trying to be strippers. It's that too. But sometimes it can happen to a very conservative person.
Because they're naive. They're not thinking like that. You're not in that mindset. It's easy for a person to come up on you and do anything. Chloroform you, take you away. You slip something in your drink when you're not paying attention. And I don't want to cut you off there, but it's very important for people to realize that you so-called BFF, you sitting there talking to your girlfriend, and somebody drops something in your drink, and your best friend sitting there. She's planning on getting paid when the evening's over with. And you're later knocked out. Somebody put you in the van. Next thing you know, you wake up somewhere in a whole new country. You have no ID. You have no passport. You don't speak the language. You're in trouble. Who do you go to? It's a lot.
That's a harsh reality.
Yeah. But you were lucky, if we can call it.
In many ways. No, in many ways. Well, I heard the stories. There's stories of models that went over there, and they did exactly like Fred said. The French, or not, I can't just say the French, but over in Europe, they're very, you know how they love Americans. So when we come, they're like, oh, my American friend, they try to bring them in. And there were cases after cases of stories of girls that have gone out with these guys. Oh, come out and celebrate you. We'll party. And they go out with these guys, you never see them again. There have been many models that went overseas and never came home. Yeah. We couldn't explain it. There was a story of a girl. She was given a job, a modeling job, and her job was to go on a yacht with all these Arab sheiks. They're going to pay, at least in my mind. Okay, they're going to have the money to pay for this. They got her on the yacht. She never came back. They raped her repeatedly until she died, and then threw her body over them. This is what's happening out there, And these girls are going over in France, in London, in Paris. All these other countries, and they're literally trying to open up, trying to, I guess, get accustomed to their surroundings, and they're being caught up just that fast. It is like the movie Taken. It is. That is an aspect of it. And what I did learn from that was, in the movie Taken, the girls were kind of tourists, and they grabbed them, drugged them.
And that happened too,
That is an aspect. There's levels. So that right there is the bottom level. That means they're just grabbing girls. They can grab they grab their own girls. They can grab girls, just throw them in a van, drug them, you'll never see them again, and they basically repeatedly rape them until they die. The next level is pretty much where the guy was trying to send me. Like I said, being that I was an American woman, you're not going to just grab an American woman every day. Yeah. So that they're bringing up, and he said that. He said she's going to make a lot of money. They're going to want her because she's different, because she's American. He kept emphasizing that to my translator. They're going to want her. So now that puts you in the higher level. What people don't know is that the officials are involved. Meaning the police are involved. The high-ranking, like the presidents, like all the senators, they're all involved. The FIFA, soccer, all the athletes, they're all involved. All this stuff is all in connection with this whole sex trade going on in Paris. Specifically, this is big business, $32 billion.
And that's what reported to us.
Exactly.
And
That's
this
what
is
we
a
know.
cash business.
Exactly.
So there will be way more than what we expect and know,
Exactly.
unfortunately.
Exactly. So my thing is, like I said, to just educate based on what I learned, based on what I know, based on what I experienced. Just educate people and tell them, stop looking for the obvious, which we think is the obvious. You know, look out for the weird guy. You know, don't talk to strangers, associating that with just a guy. Be careful of your best friends. Be careful of who you're hanging around with. Be careful of those people that are way too nice that you don't know. Always be vigilant. Trust your gut. It does go back to that. Trust your gut instincts. You know, learn self-defense, of course, if you can. Learn how to protect yourself. Be vigilant. Pay attention at all times. At all times, because it does happen. I was floored to hear that Lancaster County is one of the
Yes. There is actually more than one safe house there. There's a lot of young female, as far as I know. I'm not familiar with any men or young boys in those housing, but it's a huge number.
There's someone here in Harrisburg that just broke up a couple of months ago. It was in the papers and things.
Oh yeah, that was a huge bust. We had him on the show with the human sex trafficking segment.
What they're doing with the girls in Lancaster, and this was news to me today, they're using them when they're taking their selfies on their social media.
Yeah.
And then, you can be a model, or you can, first and foremost, if you are a model, you go to the agency. If they scout you in the mall, even then have your parents be aware of that. Agencies are fully aware of all the sex trafficking stuff, so they don't want anything associating them with a girl was, told that they were
There's also fake agencies.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Scams.
So be careful with these scams. Now, around here in Harrisburg, I don't know of too many that are legit. I don't know of anything.
No.
You probably would have to go to a bigger city.
Yeah.
But in a typical agency, you'll just go there. If they like your look, they'll pretty much take it from there. You get your portfolio. You get all that. You'll pay for all those things. That's your typical process of things as far as becoming a model. What I'm hearing about are these girls being scouted on the internet. People are seeing their selfies. People are telling them, you could be a model. And they're baiting them in. Prostitutes are called models. Strippers are called models.
Yeah, unfortunately now, this is what the society would look at it. It's a job, but they associate it with other things, and they try to make it sound like it's your fault.
Exactly. So these girls here are being baited in just off of their own vanity. Usually someone telling them, you're beautiful. Or if you have a troubled home, a lot of times they try to come in and just, be that motherly aspect. That's when you start getting into the BFFs. There's no man that's going to, unless he's the cute boyfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
But usually it's a woman that, I can be your friend. Oh, that's sad. And they try to connect with them on a level of understanding.
Excuse me, and also the kids with low self-esteem. And the quiet kids that don't hang out with nobody, don't have any friends, those are the easiest ones to pick up because they don't have friends. They don't get along with their family. It used to be a time when the families were close. Now the kids off with earbuds in their ears, walking down on Facebook. These other chat sites, they're on their cell phones. Well, I don't want to just pick out anybody like that, but they're on their cell phone, and that is their friend. What happens, they can be sitting right across the table. Hi, how are you doing? You text back, I'm doing fine. Nobody talks.
Yeah.
So when you have a low self-esteem, it's easier for somebody to come along and say, hey, good looking, how are you doing today? I take you to McDonald's or something like that. And they're like, oh, wow.
It's always been
Yes.
a huge issue in the Middle East and in Africa. And it's...
Because a lot of people they're not accounted for.
It's here
Nobody
too.
miss them. And even if they do miss them, they just my opinion. Sometimes they don't tell you, that person died of natural causes. Wait a minute. There's a lot of times, there's more things. I was in the military. I know how you can sugarcoat some stuff.
Yeah.
Things happen, but they don't want to, what they say, they don't want to get the public afraid. Tell us the truth.
You have to.
Tell the truth. If you're a crook, you're a crook. If you stink, you stink.
Yeah.
If you're clean, you clean.
And that's why I really applaud you for everything that you're doing, because raising awareness and educating about not just this issue. I mean, you're covering the whole thing. You're covering this and the Madeline. There's a lot of actors, there's a lot of young people out there who are still pursuing this. And it is a job. So we can't be afraid of pursuing our dreams, but we just need to be careful.
Yes.
So what would you advise any inspiring actor or their parents?
Be smart. Remember that this is a business first. A lot of parents have no idea because they don't think just because you're so beautiful or you're so talented. There's tons of beautiful, talented people everywhere. They're everywhere. Remember that. Remember the fact that this is a business. They are here to make money off of you. At the end of the day, if something were to happen to you, this is a case in point. You can see this all the time in movies. If something were to happen to you, guess what? Whatever they're doing is going to continue to move forward. You will be pushed to the back, and they'll just keep going on to the next thing. It's a business. They're making money off of you. Still be smart. Keep your wits about you. At the end of the day, you want to be able to make money and benefit from it, not lose your life from it or in it. You want to be able to come back and have a story to tell, or memories of what you've done. You definitely don't want to die, but you see it all the time. Where people, I've seen more recently, some of the stunt people have died. What was the first thing they did? They kept shooting. The movie
Get somebody else to replace them.
Yeah, the movie kept going.
Yeah.
It's a business.
Yeah.
Period. Drive that home. And a lot of parents don't think, oh, I'm so beautiful. It's not that. You're not so beautiful. There's tons of beautiful people out there. There's tons of gorgeous girls and great hair and great bodies. They're everywhere. And if not, they'll create it.
Now,
They'll
get
make
back
it.
to what you said. What could they do now? Are parents allowed to go with them, like for young kids when they're modeling? Would that be a plus if the parents went along with them?
They're going to try and encourage you not to do it. They're going to try and emphasize, well, we can do this. I think when the parents stay involved, the child stays grounded.
Yes.
When the parents give trust to these agents or these companies to trust their children,
That's the key point.
Right.
Yes.
That's when the children start getting into some drama. You don't know why. And some of these people are pedophiles. You don't know this.
Yes.
You don't know these people. Why on earth would I trust my child to a total stranger just because they're going to put them on TV?
Yes.
You don't know what they're doing. They get very close. Stay with your kids. Stay with your children. I tell girls all the time. They're like, oh, I'm going to model. I'm like, how old are you? Oh, I'm 17. Wait till you're 18. Wait till you graduate from high school. Wait till you're in college. You don't have to do it in your high school years. You're still young enough at 18 that you can still have a very lucrative career. And parents, just be smart. They're your kids. They're your kids. They're not the industry's kids. They're not, your agent's kids. They're yours. Yeah. So at the end of the day, yes, ask the questions. Yes, be vigilant. Be there. If you don't feel comfortable with something, stand there. Say something. This is your daughter.
Yeah.
You need me. And they get a little weary. They don't like that. They get a very leery is what I'm looking for. They don't like it. They prefer you to kind of stay in the back. Don't leave. Don't ever leave. Stay right there with your child. There's a woman right now. Her child is becoming a huge Hollywood star. You will never see these two separated. And wherever he is, she's always standing somewhere very close by. And I applaud her for doing that.
Yes, that's good.
She refuses to leave. And I'm sure they've tried to, well, you don't have to come to set today. You don't go to set anyway.
She follows.
She's everywhere. Wherever this child is, she is. And it makes perfect sense. It's brilliant. This is a child. And there are Hollywood moms. There are, I don't know the proper term. The ones that are just
Hollywood moms,
they're living vicariously through their children. I'm not talking about that because that gets a little extreme too. This is your child. At the end of the day, make sure you are there. Make sure you read the contracts. Make sure you are fully aware who is handling your child. Where is your child going? Even if they're teenagers, same thing. Be on top of this. Don't just let them go off to another country without you. Go with them. Yes. Tyra Banks' mom used to go with her to Italy. Because part of the business, they want them to be young. Why? They're not going to question.
Naive.
Yeah. You and I will ask questions. Well, how come this? Well, what is this? Well, why? They're not. The kids aren't going to ask. They're so fascinated. You can put $200 in front of them, and that's a lot of money.
And a Happy Meal.
To them, right? That's. But realistically, right? You can give them $1,000, and oh my God, they hit the jackpot. We ask questions we want to know. Be aware. These are your kids at the end of the day. Always ask questions. Do not leave them in the hands of these people. This is not school. Where in school they have to be regulated and have to be watched, and they know not to touch. Because for the most, you send your kid to school, they're going to come home. Don't think like that in terms of this business. It is a business first. And what they're going to do is make their money off of your child first. Your child means nothing. What they can make off of your child is everything. And a lot of people don't understand that.
And with that in mind, you are a very strong woman, and I admire you. I can't say that enough. And on top of that, you are, like I said, trying to educate. But there's a lot of people out there, not just victims or survivors of trafficking. And like I said, it's not just the sex trafficking. There's the labor. I mean, there's so many umbrellas. But there's also domestic violence survivors and all of the above. How did you keep yourself well put
in all of this?
And I mean, you spoke about the part where you went through the hard times. I mean, this will help somebody out there to know it's normal to cry, to feel sad, and to get depressed. But at the end of the day, you gotta shake all that and find who you are and try to regain. Like, take your life over. To me, you took your life over, and it doesn't matter if it did happen or not.
Right.
It was there. You were that close.
Right. I actually went home. I went back. After that happened, I came back to the U.S. And everything in me was like terrified. I was scared to walk outside. I was scared for everything. And the whole time I was there, I knew I never finished what I went to Paris to do to begin with. And I got offered a job to go back for Paris Fashion Week. I was booked to go to the show. Terrified to go back to this place. But I had to remember in the course of this, Emma, the girl, was the name of the girl. She didn't make my dream for me. She didn't create this, and so she did not have the power to take this from me based on what she did. So I went back anyway to finish what I started, because this was my dream at the end of the day. This is my life at the end of the day, and it's terrifying what happens to us. It's terrifying when things come against us like this. But at the end of the day, I am the one that lives out my dream. So what am I going to do? Am I going to sit here and feel sorry for myself the rest of my life? No. Allow yourself time to breathe. Allow yourself time to cry. Get it out of your system. Be afraid. But at some point, just like they say, when you get knocked off something, get back up and do it again. Go back out there. Just use your wisdom now. When you go back out there, I refuse to allow this circumstance, this man, this girl, whoever else was involved, dictate to me whether I was going to make it or not in this industry. And I went back, and actually it was 10 times greater, because by then people in France had heard about my story and they knew what happened. So now that made them even more interested. Who is this girl? And I went to places and did things I never imagined I was going to do. I went above and beyond my dream of even being in France. I just wanted to be on Runway. Honestly, I just wanted to be there. Here I'm on the runway, I'm in magazines, now I have friends, now people know me, like they're still calling me to come back, do it again, we have something else for you, we have more work for you. I never anticipated this tragedy to literally catapult my career so much higher and further, but it would have never happened if I wouldn't have jumped back in and took that chance and did it again.
Looking at the glass half full.
Exactly. In any situation, don't allow that situation to dictate to you how far you can go. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be someone. If not her, there would have been something else, I'm sure. In life, there's always going to be some sort of block. Obstacle trying to tell you this is as far as you go. This is as far as you can, this is what you can do, and that's it, no more. And you have to believe in yourself enough. And I know this sounds cliche and I don't mean it to, but you have to believe in yourself enough to say, you know what, no, I believe there's something past that barrier, and I'm going to go past it. And you're just going to have to try and stop me because I'm going. And I don't mean that cliche. You have to tell yourself that. Yeah. And you will have to probably tell yourself that a lot. And you may have to do things afraid. You may have to do things terrified. You may have to do things knowing, in your heart you really don't want to. But keep going anyway. That's my biggest advice, to keep going.
Pursue your dream.
Keep going.
That's right.
Keep going. If there's a memo out there saying you can't, don't get it. Keep going. I didn't get that memo. You don't tell me I'm done when I'm done. When he says, that's when I'm done, and I'll leave it alone, and I know when it's over, I'll sit down and bow down gracefully. I'm not there yet. So until that day comes, nothing is going to stand in my way. And you have to have that belief in yourself. You have to tell yourself that every day, because something is always going to come against your dream, your belief, and just your hopes of getting anywhere you're trying to get to. You can't let it stop you.
And the main thing that you're not that person, you're not me, you're you. You live for you.
Exactly.
And other people try to dictate, no, don't do this here. Only way you're going to get to the top is climb the ladder. And you done good, my friend. You've been climbing that ladder. Every time I see you climbing that ladder, girl.
And she's going to continue.
Yes, she will.
And that's my motto. Do not let whatever happens to you dictate. And you will hear that, you will read that all over my page. We are not victim of our circumstances. It's what we allow it to be.
Yes.
You can just sit there, and then I kept saying, and I'm going to talk about that. I talked about that a lot, about my case, domestic violence, and all of that. If I allowed it to dictate who I want to be and how to live my life, then where would I be now? So it's a choice at the end of the day, and it's hard for some more than the others, and that's why we are lucky to have someone like you and someone like Fred who are reminding us that to stay ground and to keep pushing.
Yep.
It's not going
never give up.
It's not going to be easy. And anyone who tells you that, they've never done it. It's going to be hard. But that should never, ever stop you. Keep pushing. Keep fighting. Keep going. Keep doing it. No matter what. You get knocked down, keep getting up, try again. Get knocked down, keep trying again. At the end of that is a reward that you'll never expect. Case in point, the Paris thing. I never expected the success, the act. I never expected what I got out of this. Never. I'm it's like my own celebrity over there. I never anticipated that.
Everything that happened to you, or happened to us for that matter, it makes us who we are. You are a complete package, a complete human. We're not just talking about your experience, the bad and the good that we see now. We want to know what's after. What is Lori's life right now, after, now, and before?
Well, I was strictly a model at the time of all of this, and now I've moved out to Los Angeles, California. I'm a professional actor. I'm a SAG actress. So I've been doing movies and TV shows. I have a few things coming out. I just did my first speaking role on Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, wow.
Where I played the doctor.
I guess I gotta watch that. I gotta watch it before I guess I'll watch it
It came on Thursday, this past Thursday, and just you keep moving forward. I hate to keep sounding like I'm saying the same thing, but it's true. You just keep moving forward.
No, you
That's
stress
life.
that.
That's life. Yes.
You make a goal for yourself, and you knock out that goal. Now what? Now I have to make up new goals because I've lived everything I said I was going to do. Everything I told people or even myself that I was going to do, I've literally done. And then some went back, got the shirt, and came back and did it again. And now it's like, okay, I have to create now new dreams because I've done everything I said I was going to do. I've met every person I said I was going to meet. I went everywhere I said I was going to go. Now it's time to create new dreams.
Sit down and recuperate.
Sit down and do it all over again.
Do it all over again.
But this time when I go, I have a wisdom. I have at least a lot more strength. I understand. I know what's out there. I understand that it's going to be some obstacles. I understand things are going to come against you when you make that focused decision that this is what I'm going to do. Okay, expect all kinds of stuff to start trying to come in as a barrier against that. But what do? In spite of that, you keep moving. There may not be money sometimes, but you know what? Do it anyway. Try it without money. Do what you can with what you have. Use what you have. I come from Harrisburg. I lived in Harrisburg. We never had any money. We were very poor as a family. So even just the fact that I'm doing any of what I'm doing is an attestment. It's a testament.
Testament for your strength.
Yeah, it's a testament right there. I didn't do it because I had so much money to do it. I didn't do it because I had so much educational background to do it. I didn't do it because I was so strong. I did it because I just really believed in my heart.
Hey, look, let's work on this side.
And you didn't give up. Never gave up.
Keep going. Set those goals for yourself. Set those dreams for yourself, and then go get them. And if those dreams scare you, that's even more proof you need to be doing. That's even more proof that's where you need to be. It should scare you because if it were all attainable, if it were so easy, we'd all be doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'd all be doing it. Or you could just plow right through it, and it wouldn't mean what it means. So for me right now, what I've accomplished showed me who I am. I was always afraid. I can't sit here and act like I'm so strong. I was terrified. I was scared. You know, rightfully so. I hear how I think. And I have that internal dialogue. I get that. People don't know that, but it's taught me that I can still move forward even in the face of sheer adversity. You know, even my life being threatened, but I can keep going. Just keep. I can't emphasize that enough. Keep going.
And that shows that it shows you your strengths. And once you cross that point, there is no way that you're going to return.
No one can ever take that.
Nothing can take that away from you, and nothing is going to intimidate you.
There it is.
That's the whole thing.
There it is.
That's why you have that, you know, glow. You know yourself. You're aware of your self-worth, and you know what you can and cannot do. And cannot do doesn't exist.
Nothing.
I love you, girl. No, seriously, this is refreshing. You know, it's easy to sit down and hear and read, but like you said, to have a life proof that your circumstances does not dictate who you are and who you're going to be.
Or how far you can go. Or how far you can go. You can do anything you put your mind to. And these all sound like the cliche stuff that you, but they're true. They're true. You can do anything. You are going to limit you. You are going to dictate how far you go.
That's
You
true.
decide that. No one can really stop you. They're going to try, but no one can stop that but you. If you decide in your heart, this is as far as it, then that's how far it's going to be. And
It's all up here, right?
It's all in your
Yeah.
head. It is all in your head. Keep going.
The limitation does not actually exist. We make them.
Limitations on
We
ourselves.
limit ourselves. We limit ourselves. Never allow that to happen. Because now you're victimizing yourself. Now you've made yourself a victim.
And that's how we all are. We all had obstacles in our lives. But that's why we're all sitting here at this table, because we refuse to say, no, I can't do it. I'm going to do it. No matter what happens. Something goes wrong here, you go another route.
That's right.
We're in the military. If I can't get around it, I'm going through it. And that's the only way it works.
Exactly.
Either I'm going to get there one way or another.
Moreover, that you have or we have a very rich experience, very rich story to tell.
Yes.
And you're not just keeping it bottled up.
Right.
You want to share it and in an effort to help someone out there. And that's what the whole purpose of
Yes. That's a lot
your
of
life,
young girls.
his life, and
Yeah.
my life.
And
Yes.
especially coming from Harrisburg, where there isn't a lot of, you know, like in Hollywood, there's celebrities everywhere. There's
Yeah.
media everywhere. You know, it's inspiration all over the place. You know, like all you have to do is walk down the street, and you're like, you know what? I want to be just like that.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have that in Harrisburg. You know, we still have that mindset from what I can remember that it happens out there. It happens in Philly.
Yeah.
It happens in DC. It happens in New York. It
Doesn't
doesn't
happen
happen in
here.
Harrisburg.
Here.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm living proof it happens here too. Because this is where I started. I started right here in Harrisburg. And I was doing just little commercials, just little jobs here, whatever I could jump into, whatever I could do. And that snowballed into other places, and I started branching out. And I literally just kept getting to where I went overseas. Start here, start where you are, start with what you have, and then build on that. And just keep going, just keep going. But
And
it is
all our
possible.
kids need a role model. And, you know, we all need, like you said, someone to look up to. And you are that for them over there and for our kids here in Harrisburg, so we're glad you're back.
And that makes it, that's right, because a lot, like she was just saying, people think you got to go somewhere else to make it. Start here, because you get the experience to get you wiser before you get out there. And that's what happens. Your wiseness came from here to here to here, on the other side of the pond, and coming back. Now you have a wealth of knowledge that you can tell every young girl, every person, every model out there. Everybody want to be something. When you turn on the TV, I want to do that. I got to go to LA. I got to go to New York.
Right.
You got the knowledge to tell them know what the real deal is. And you can, you know, just tell your story. You can tell them, well, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to do. None of us would get nowhere if we thought we knew everything. Your experience is very valuable because we don't hear people talking about it. Nobody talks about it. When you told me about it, and I told her, and I said, "Oh, Lord, you got to come." And I told her, she said, "You got to get her here." And I'm like, "Lord, you got to talk to
And
her."
I saw that short you did. He sent it to me and he said, you need to have her on the show.
Thank you.
And as soon as I looked into that, I I wanted to get in touch with you, and I'm glad. I was looking on my Facebook yesterday, and I saw the
She
picture
told
in
me.
the Eastmore, and I called him right away. I said, "She's here.
And I'm
We
like,
have
what?
to find her. We have to find a way." But it is refreshing, like I said, and I cannot say that enough. It's just something that we need, and especially now because it's not getting better.
Exactly.
Right.
It is not getting better.
There's so much more to life. There's more. Harrisburg, in my opinion, is like this, and the barriers of my arms. And hopefully, this illustration hits home. You see, like just like there's more of a table out there.
Mhm.
That's the rest of life.
Yeah.
There's so much more than just what's in the barriers of my
So
arms.
we just go so far and then we stop.
This is
And
Harrisburg.
they're afraid to look out what's on the
There's
other
so
side.
much more life out there. Look how much table there is. There's so much more life. That is the exact illustration that I want to give. There's so much more out there than what you see, what you know right here. And I'm living proof that it can happen to you. It happened to me. And it started here. I mean, I'm driving through these streets for the first time in 10 years, and I'm remembering
Looks
everything.
different,
How
don't it?
did you
Oh,
feel?
I'm like, it's so small. These streets are
10
so
years.
The streets are so tiny. Like
Yeah.
I remember like
They
streets
used
that
to
I thought
be
were
big.
Yeah,
I know.
these were like blocks to me. They were like
The
acres.
perspection.
Yeah, now I'm like that's like
Perspective
2 steps.
change.
You
Yeah.
know, like, it's everything is so little now. But I remembered as I was driving. I purposely drove through the city, like I was just anywhere. And I remember being here when I was this age. I remember this happening here, and I remember going shopping, just kind of doing my everyday life, and just the person I was, and never. I knew I had a dream in my heart, but never imagining I would go as far as I went. You know, and it was refreshing to come back home and to see where I started from. You know, and just it inspired me all over again. Like, you know, this is home. This is where you started. This is where it all began. Just so small. It's almost unbelievable because you're almost like, well, how did I get out
How
of
did
here?
I get out of this? Sometimes you need to ground yourself, right? So this is
Totally
basically
grounded.
grounding you.
Grounded,
Yep, you're
yes.
back. This
Like,
is
that
where
should
it
have
began.
never happened. Like it almost could be considered impossible.
Yeah.
An impossible situation, you know. So anything is possible. It can happen. Set your goals. Put your mind to it. It's gonna happen, but you will have to keep going. It's not gonna just be handed to you. Please learn that. It's not gonna be easy. Please learn that. You will have to fight for something. You will have to fight for what you believe. You have to even fight sometimes yourself to keep going, to keep believing, because you're going to get no. You're going to get absolutely, you know, just ridiculous responses sometimes that are just going to make you even question, why are you even doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
You know, that's okay. We've all been there, especially those who have made it. Keep going. is
And
what
when
I'm
you
saying.
think it would help doing it with a clear mind? When you get out there with alcohol and drugs, it obscures your thinking. You make dumb decisions, and sometimes it could be life-threatening
It
decisions.
slows you down.
Yeah, and it could cost you your life.
It slows
But
you
when you can think, that's the most powerful thing you got is your brain. So you know, as far as talking to the young kids on saying no to drugs, because I'm always pushing that. No drugs, no alcohol. Keep a clear brain. Keep your mind clear where you can think. And that would be something the young kids need to know. Because right now they see all these videos where everybody's doing drugs. They think it's cool. And like I tell these young guys, these young kids, I don't give a crap about no bling bling. I got a job. You got a job, you can get anything you want. So you keep a clear mind. But when you let other things infiltrate your brain, your way of thought, then you get screwed up, because then somebody comes and tell you, well, I can get you $5 and just to do this here, when you can go out and make $1,000 doing something legit.
Sure.
And then when you do it legit, nobody's knocking on your door to take it from you.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So, these young kids need a wake-up call on what's real and what's phony.
Well, I'm glad you say that. One of the key things that is phony is these are actors. These are entertainers. So a lot of them aren't even living that same lifestyle that what you see in these videos. They're not. And I've seen it firsthand. I've done music videos with some of the biggest names, literally in the video with them. And I saw where they handed out a tray of, jewelry and whatever they had them wear, and then literally take it back at the end of the video.
Yeah.
Thank you. We need that back.
Yeah.
You're done now.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not real. It's literally meant to make
believe.
Yeah, it's meant to sell the song, really. It's not what they're really doing or living. But the other thing, too, if you are into drugs, think of the money that you could be spending towards your career. Sharpening yourself, bettering yourself, taking classes, learning, whatever, enhancing your craft. Because there are people out there day and night, and I know this firsthand in Hollywood, there are people out there day and night who this is all they do. they're focused. Like, they're in every class. They're in everything that's sharpening who they are. So when they get to these auditions, they are no joke in front of this. You know what I mean? So if you half do something like that, it's gonna translate that way. So I try to tell people, instead of focusing your money on drugs or even shopping or things like that, focus on your craft. Sharpen your skills. Make yourself a beast to the point where they have to have you. One of the biggest accomplishments was the biggest supermodel in the world, IMAN.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest supermodel in the world came to me, and she said to me, "You are my favorite." Me. Lori from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, is her favorite model.
You're my favorite now.
She helped you.
Big time, yes.
She's the biggest it gets.
Yeah.
But it doesn't come by me, goofing off and having it, and taking things lightly. I took it seriously. I was nose to the grind, day in, day out, and maybe you don't have to have my work ethic, but you will have to fight. You will have to sharpen yourself. And I tell you what, people, my haters. There's no such thing as haters when you're focused. I'm gonna tell you why. If you're focused, it's like tunnel vision. You're like this. So if my hands are like this, I can't even see your face right now, or Fred's. I can't. Why? I'm focused, deadlocked on where I'm going. Don't worry about those people that are haters. They're going to be there when you leave there. They're going to be there wherever you're going next. They're going to be, when you finish and accomplish everything. There's going to be somebody. Don't worry about that. Your focus is, what do I need to do to sharpen, to tighten myself up, and to be on top of that. And even then, once you make it, you still will always have to keep sharpening and honing in on what it is you do. This will never end until you stop. Never. But if Lori Livingston from South 13th Street, Harrisburg, and that was the worst of the worst part of the city. At least when I lived there, the worst of the worst part. If I can come out of that with a single parent mother who was on drugs, who did nothing, she had no money to take care of us. I had no role model. I had nobody to sit there and look at me and I could say, I want to be that. What I was saying was absurd. When I would say it, people would be like, "Oh, there ain't nobody. You ain't gonna make it on TV." You know what I mean? I was living the impossible. If I can do it, anyone in this city can do it. And do it bigger.
And we didn't touch on that, your childhood, or I know it's a lot, but can you just take us back to that? And because you achieved something and you came out of not just one obstacle, but I'm sure a lot. Even growing up, the family, I'm a single parent myself, and I know how hard it is, but I'm trying to do whatever I can for my kids now, but I know there's a lot that they have an absentee mother or they have unfortunate circumstances, and we don't know why she got this, because of abuse. It could be for many reasons, and I'm sure there's a lot more into Lori's story. And when you come back next time, we're gonna have a long talk. But for now, a lot of people out there who's living what you just talked about, or who's going through a lot, what can you say to them?
I'm the impossible story. I'm literally the woman that I was already married, had my son, and was trying to step into a modeling career and everything. I went the opposite. So by the time that I should have been kind of done bowing down and coming out of it, I was going full force into it. That makes it even more to the fact that you have to believe in yourself. Because people were looking at me like I was crazy, like, wait, you're how old? And you want to, what? Don't get the memo. Don't buy into what society says is the box. Don't put yourself in that box. Mm-hmm. Don't ever put yourself, and don't let anyone else put you there. But I think one of the biggest battles is we have to keep ourselves out of that box too. Because society's always going to say, well, at this age, you should be doing this. And if you're a single parent mom, you should be doing that. Yeah. And if you're married, heaven forbid you do that. Don't let people define who and what and how you're going to do it. Sometimes that's the only time you have to do it. Sometimes it's now or never. And now might be when you're in your 30s. Now might be when you really don't have any money, but you got this, enough to kind of get something started. You don't know when now is going to be. The time isn't always going to be perfect. Everything isn't always going to be the right time. Everything is just laid out just perfect. Mm-hmm. And you're just waiting for you to just gracefully, birds and butterflies floating around. Yeah. You're just gracefully going through it. That's not going to always be the case. Usually the time to start is when it seems like it's the most impossible.
As a single mother, and as a mother to a handsome young man, how did that all play?
It was not easy. Just the long hours, gone a lot. feel my heart breaks for him because he had to grow up in Hollywood, so to say. He had to grow up in the business where I was always gone somewhere. I was always on the road. I was always headed somewhere. I had to make the sacrifices to go out to make the money for home. I had to. And I had to rely on family members, my mom, certainly his father. I had to rely on other people to help me to bring this to pass. So it definitely wasn't just me on my own. And you're going to make some sacrifices. You are. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be fun. The kids are, there are always going to be pros and cons, give and take. You're going to have to, but you keep moving forward because at the end goal is to make a better life for you and your family, your children.
Did that make you feel more paranoid than the normal with your son? Did you talking to him a lot? Did he, felt like, okay, Mom, calm down?
I feel like right now he's kind of understanding it, but at the same time, my heart still breaks because, I went full force into this career. I focused and I did everything to do everything I'm trying to do right now. And at the end of the day, your family is more important.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when you make your success, when you get to that aspired, that desired area of life that you're trying to get to, it means absolutely nothing if your family isn't right there with you. It means nothing. So keep that also in perspective as you're fighting this battle. Don't ever give it so much of your time, your attention, and your focus that you forget what's really going to be important at the end of the day, and that's going to be your son, your daughter, your husband, wife, people that are in your life.
Family.
Your family. Those are the more important things.
Well, I wish if we have more time. I know you're heading back home, your second home.
Back to LA.
And I'm just glad that we were able to connect with you and sit down and have this talk. And I'm sure we're going to do it again at some point. So thank you very much for coming and talking to me. And we will do it again, for sure. We cannot give you everything out there, but we want you, when you go home, to look around you and try to find the problem and be a solution. Thank you very much, Lori. Thank you, Fred. And see you next week.